that agents should be using, regardless of their name and their influence. And then Pam and I are going to pretend that, you know, I'm just a local agent. I sell maybe 10, 12 homes a year. I met her on a transaction. She
Right.
kind of heard about EXP. She likes the concept, but I'm going to turn her over to speak to you. So
Right.
that's what we're recording. So go ahead, Mr.
Yeah.
Peter.
You got it. So thanks for having me. And so the biggest thing that I would say is a mind shift, and you'll hear different things from different people about what they do. And so we may be a little bit different in our approach, but we kind of based it upon a book called Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. And so the most important thing when it comes to agent attraction, there you go. When it comes to agent attraction is something that's duplicatable. And I think this is there's kind of the lost art of this when, you know, people get out talking about EXP or making calls or they're in conversation with somebody. It's kind of like Fight Club. You know, the first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. And with EXP, the first rule of recruiting to EXP is don't try to talk about EXP.
No.
It's just too complicated of a business model to explain eloquently to somebody. And even if you were really good at it, if you were to recruit someone that way and they had to recruit that way, they would probably feel like that's not even an opportunity for them because they don't want to do that, right? Nobody wants to sell. I hate selling. So, you know, I don't want to have to convince somebody to join a brokerage. I'd rather them be interested, right? Attract versus chase.
Right.
And so we've, you know, when we first started, the first thing we did was we went to people that had, you know, in network marketing, there's principles that apply to agent attraction that, you know, worked in network marketing. So we followed a lot of people and asked a lot of questions. And the first thing we came to the agreement of is that there needed to be a process that allowed you to, you know, have a conversation with an agent without having to pitch EXP, and have a process or systems that you could follow to get somebody to see the offer, right? So the offer, in this case, is the ability to partner with top agents from around the country, and then the leverage of this EXP business model with the stock and the revenue share and all the technology you get and all that kind of stuff. And so we did a video that's called, we call it One Big Fire. And that video is, you know, starts off with how to partner, you know, how to double your business, how to build a new passive income stream with your real estate business and build an asset by partnering with us without ever having to pay us a penny, without ever having to pay for coaching, training, or technology ever again, right? Like that's what we're inviting people to learn about, right? And so, as opposed to, you know, trying to get somebody excited about EXP, you know, it's more of an approach to, you know, find out what it is that their goals are. If they're open-minded, if I was to send you a video, if I could get you on a call, a live call with one of my mentors, would you be open to checking, you know, taking a look? If we could help you accomplish your goals in the next 5 years, if you ask them a question, which is, you know, I was talking to a guy the other day that was making tons of calls. I mean, he's aggressively recruiting, and which is not most of you guys here on the call, obviously not. I mean, I didn't even do that, but he was just like making call after call after call. And he was trying to explain EXP to everybody. And he was striking out an awful lot. I said, start with a question, right? Ask him a question, you know? So tell me, you know, I noticed, you know, you've done quite a few deals this year. I really appreciated doing business with you. You did a, you know, great job. It was a great transaction. I'm curious what, you know, kind of what are your goals over the next 5 years in real estate? And when they start talking, they'll, you know, you start to build rapport and say, well, hey, I got a question. If I was able to show you a way to do that in half the time, would you be open-minded to take a look at it? You know, an opportunity. And that's going to get you're going to get a better result with that approach than you will with, hey, let me tell you how great EXP is. Mm-hmm. Right. And so a lot of people don't want to move brokerages because they can't possibly imagine it's that much better. Right. And so because they don't know what it is, they think they know what it is. And if you try to explain it, they'll tell you that they know what it is, but they don't. That's 100%. Like almost every single time somebody tells you they know the model, there's a really good chance that they don't know, and they're definitely missing something. And more importantly, they definitely don't know what it's like to partner with all of us. Right? That's a completely different animal, and not something that they've probably ever heard. Right? So so that's kind of been, our approach is try to make it duplicatable. So, how do you recruit 1,000 agents to EXP without ever having to give the presentation, without ever having to talk to somebody that doesn't want to talk to you first, and without ever having to answer their questions? When they do watch the video or get on the live that we do every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central, then get them to, on a 3-way call with somebody, right? And instead of selling EXP or trying to explain EXP or trying to answer their questions, edify someone else and say, what if I could get you on a call with Tina? Tina's one of the top people in the company. She knows all the answers. She has all the answers. She's very successful, making a ton of money at EXP. I'm sure she would be happy to jump on a call. If I was able to get you on a call, would you be willing to jump on a call with Tina? And then you're never selling, right? And because it sucks. I hate selling. I don't want to try to convince you. And it's the minute you start selling somebody on how great, even if you're just legitimately like enthusiastic and loving it and wanting to tell somebody about it, they resist, right? They just go back in their shell. And so instead of doing that, you want to edify someone else and then let them sell EXP. And that 3-way call is Dan Hilsman. I mean, Dan Hilsman he just hit 200 people in his group, and he's been with the company 2 years. When he joined, he was a $2 or $3 million producer, not a big producer, been in the business a long time, nicest guy you'd ever meet. You wouldn't think of him as a recruiter though. And he just followed the process. He consistently followed the process, put people on calls, 3-way calls with me. I could count on him at least 3 times, sometimes every single day. He was in my calendar with somebody, and he just followed that process. And I remember about halfway through the year where he put so many people on calls with me. He was the person I talked to the most, I think. And he asked me a question because I told him, I said, don't answer any of their questions. Just get them on a call with me. If they ask you anything, I don't care what it is, just put them on a call with me. Don't answer their questions. He got about halfway through the year and he recruited quite a few people. But he said, Jay, these guys are asking some questions that I know the answer to. And you think it'd be all right if I answered those questions, or do I have to still just put them on a call with you? Like, he was just diligently following, the system. I was like, no, man, you can answer, simple questions like what's the split or whatever. Like, if you know the answer, you can answer it. He's like, he wouldn't answer anything. You know what? Let me just put him on a call with Jay. And that's why I ended up on so many calls with him, was because he was following the process. And that's 200 people is probably, that's probably, 8 or 10 grand this month for him, and that's life changing for him. His monthly bills are paid for by the people that he's attracted to EXP. Now he's spending time helping those people do the same thing. And he still sells real estate and does, all his business the way he has before. But, he's a really good testament to following a process, right? And that working for him.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think when I look at our RevShare group, we have 172 agents now in 12 months.
That's awesome.
So we're doing good. We're growing, but the agents that are consistent, they have me on calls all the time, and I'm not as good as you, but it's like, I want to make it.
You are.
Yeah, no, I want to make it duplicatable for them, and
right.
and that's why I tell them, like, guys, you don't have to know about EXP. Just I did the homework. Pam and Kevin, we're trying to do the homework so we know most of the answers. If I don't, I'll bring them up. But I know I'm smart enough to bring a Marty Hampton to somebody like you or somebody above you, even to get. I brought it right to Glenn Sanford.
There you go.
I'm not an idiot. I want to just bring Marty to Glenn. Here you go. Glenn. So I think that. All of us everybody has a different level, but no matter how great you are, you're not trying to close people. And it's just much easier to listen to Jay and his why. I knew Jay from 10 years ago because I study all the coaches and the trainers. And, if I wanted to talk to Jay and Mike Reese, I had to pay him $2,500 a month. They were calling me for my credit card all the time. And I was like, I'm not going to pay that. But now they're my business partners, and that's cool. So I can call them and they'll tell us whatever we need to know. So you guys, same thing. I think that's the big miss, but it's the hardest thing to explain until they feel it. And so, I think hopefully that helped you guys, that explanation. So the goal of it is, if you do run into someone, it's just like an expired call. Well, what's your commission? Well, that's exactly why we need to get together. What are you going to do different to sell my home? You know what? That's exactly why we need to get together. Well, why is EXP so great? That's exactly why you should probably talk to Tina or Jay or whoever, because they've been in it a little longer. So whatever. So it's the same kind of thing. So awesome. Well, I think, so Pam, my operations manager here is, so I figured I'm going to be like I'm going to be a $2 to $3 million producer. I don't have a big name in the area, and I ran into Pam. We had a great transaction, and I did that exact thing. Hey, I'd love for you to talk to Jay. And so we're going to just kind of, the other thing, and Jay, you told me this too, when you get on a recruiting call too, when you edify someone, you want to get on the call, you want to tell them why you admire the person above you, like why I admire Jay, why I follow Jay, and then shut up and just stay silent the whole time. Jeremy Brassman, if he's on this call, I mean, he'll probably watch it because we're recording. He says nothing. Like he's like, you know, the person will talk to him and he still says nothing. He's like, well, what do you think? He just says nothing. And he just got a team of 12 or 15 people from Charlotte that are joining us. So it really awesome. Is, yeah, it's awesome. So, all right. So let's see. We probably should have put it on a webinar type thing, but we didn't. So, okay. So here's the call. So Pam, you're ready. So hey Jay, thanks so much for coming to this call today. I want to introduce you to Pam. Her and I work locally in the market, and we have very similar production. And she just, you know, we were just talking about EXP, and I basically just told her that, you know, I came to EXP because of you, people like you, and I mean, you had a $10 million business, and when you moved your business over to EXP, I took notice. So I'd love for you to just talk to her a little bit more about it, because you just have so much more knowledge about EXP.
Sure. So Pam, did you get a chance to take a look at the video that Tina sent you?
I looked at it briefly. I mean, honestly, I don't think I watched the whole thing, but
sure. That's fair.
Kind of, you know, briefly reviewed it.
What did you like about what you saw?
You know, I mean, I think there's lots of different ways to make money, and that's kind of intriguing to me. Like Tina and I have talked, I don't want to work till I'm 85.
Right.
So that some of that was intriguing to me. But I do have a fear, like I don't want to be a recruiter. That's not who I am.
Sure.
Sounds really uncomfortable to call people
right.
and try to recruit. So
right.
there's positives there, but I have maybe some nerves around it too.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit more about your business currently.
Yeah. So last year I closed 50 deals as an individual agent. So pretty good in our marketplace. Busy all the time. I'd like to do, you know, 75 deals this year.
Right. Okay, what's kind of the goal for, you know, say the next 5 years? Where would you like your business to be at? What would it look like?
Yeah, I would probably like to add maybe a buyer's agent to help me take it up to the next level. Maybe some admin support as well, so I can do more production and support another agent on my, you know, a team.
Gotcha. And so what does that look like as far as like the amount of hours you're working and stuff like that? You know, obviously when you're doing 50 transactions, you're busy.
Lot of,
right. Like 14-hour days. I remember those. And so, you know, grow the business is the goal to get more leverage. And is that kind of what you're wanting to, you know, getting the weekends back and the evenings back, or is it more, you just want it to increase production, increase income? You know, what's kind of the ultimate goal?
Both, but I would like to get more time. You know, I feel like I
Right.
work all the time. There's no balance there as well. So, you know, I feel like I could do more business, but at what cost?
Right.
So yes, some balance is probably my bigger priority than just more production.
Right. So in the next 5 years, maybe doing the 75 or 100 transaction range, somewhere in that range, but having just a little bit more support, a little bit more flexibility with your time.
Exactly. Right. Yes.
That makes sense. Okay. So what when you looked at EXP, what stood out the most?
I mean, I guess the technology stands out to me. There's a lot of it. Again, there's pros and cons with that. Again, right. the multiple revenue streams. Tina and I chatted a little bit about having stock awards and some rev share. Those two stand out to me as well. I don't know much about the company culture, though. That's something that's right. A question mark for me.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is probably the most misunderstood thing about EXP is the culture, and it was for me. Even actually, when I joined, they didn't have Facebook Workplace, but I didn't understand how disruptive this was and how much better it was. So like when you think about Amazon, the first time I ordered a book on Amazon, I never knew that I was going to be ordering everything that I get at my house from Amazon in the future, right? Like I didn't realize how disruptive that was. Right. And same thing with Netflix. I remember watching Netflix in 2008. Now my kids refer to TV as Netflix. And so the the ability to have, and this is, my experience, it may be different for you, but in the real estate offices that I've always been a part of, I've noticed that the agents in the office never would tell me their best strategies, the things that were working best for them. They would always keep those to themselves. And in this environment, when you join EXP, you're going to have an app on your phones, Facebook Workplace, and you'll be a part of the state group, and you'll be a part of any group, any of these number of groups that you want to be a part of, whether you're interested in lead generation or you're interested in whatever your interests are, yoga, there's groups for yoga, whatever your interests are. You can join all these different groups, but instead of it just being, the 15 or 20 or 100 agents that are in your office, it's 30,000 agents from around the country, all sharing their best practices, the things that they're doing that's working. I saw a guy the other day that was showing people how to build squeeze pages. And to this day, I can't build a squeeze page if my life depended on it. So I wouldn't know where to start, but the guy was showing how to do it. And even if I didn't want to, I could have paid him like $100 and he would do it for me. And all on the same tool that, we're all using the same technology because they provide all that technology. So it just made it more collaborative and more easier for me to find things that I'm looking for, or connect with people that can solve a problem. And obviously, if you're talking to Tina, Tina's been wildly successful at building her business. She's been where you're at, and I've been where you're at. And I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that we could help you build your business to 75 or 100 transactions. I think that's our track record of performance and helping people do that's pretty strong. I don't question that at all. But I think what the bigger opportunity is that I'm seeing, if you're going to be in business, how much longer do you think you'll be in business in real estate? How many years would you say?
Ideally, maybe 10 more, 15 years at max is what I would, want to be in it.
Right.
I
So
want to
10,
be 80 and selling houses.
right. You're right. Yeah. Nobody wants to just fall over dead knocking doors. Right. So yeah, I had this lady in my office. Her name was Betty Austin. I swear to God, she had to be 100 years old. And I remember showing houses. I was showing a buyer, and we were going to do our final walkthrough. And Betty pulls up in her purple Lincoln Town Car. I'm not making this up. It was purple, like a little lavender. It was a little darker than lavender. It was purple Lincoln Town Car. She's just barely to the house. She's got the MLS book in her hand.
Oh my gosh!
I remember those days.
Yeah.
She has an MLS book in her hand, and she's like, "Jay, is this house still available?" I mean, the sold sides on it. I mean, the buyers were. That's how far out the runs were of the MLS books. It was completely antiquated. And the poor buyers, you could see them. They were a young couple, and they were just like, "Shoot me, please shoot me."
Right.
They'd be going looking at houses that were sold, already sold, 30, 60 days ago. But yeah, no. So I think one of the things that they did that was really inspiring to me was I think as real estate agents across the country, one of the biggest challenges is saving for the future, right? What's retirement look like, and how much do you need to have set aside in order to be able to live comfortably at some point? I think that's why a lot of real estate agents do work, never stop working. But with your production now and over the next 10 or 15 years, you're talking, you would qualify for icon status based upon your numbers, which means you would get that 16,000 back in stock, over the next 10 or 15 years. I don't know what that's going to be worth, but I think you would say that was a pretty good decision, to be at EXP, because obviously you don't get stock anywhere else. So that's one thing that, based upon your goals, where you're trying to go and what you're trying to accomplish, that I think that would serve you pretty well.
Okay. I mean, certainly I don't have any stocks where I am currently, so that would be different. Than what I have now, which is zero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anything's better than nothing. Right. And so the other side of this is you're pretty influential, with the number of deals that you're doing, whether you realize it or not. A lot of people are humble, but people follow you, people look up to you. And so one of the things that we put together was a system for agent attraction. So I don't recruit. I hate recruiting. I'm a terrible recruiter, to be honest with you. I don't, making calls is not something that you would need to do in order to recruit to EXP. What happens, generally speaking, when people are going to ask you, because your production, they've seen what you've accomplished. You're going to want to know why you decided to make the jump over to EXP. And so we've got a little system for that where we'll help you with, in fact, you put them all on a call with me or Tina, we'll help you with every single one of them, and happily, have those conversations and help them kind of see the opportunity and to move over to EXP. So,
There's a person person in my area, and he's been kind of labeled as the recruiter, for
Mm,
EXP, and it's kind of given some of the other agents, I guess, a bad reputation. I know Tina's kind of changing that mindset in the area as well. So um,
right.
that's a worry of mine because
Mhm.
my reputation is important to me. So have you had that experience, and how have you handled that? The
Sure.
recruiter.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've kind of talked to agents. We got agents in, I mean, literally in all across the country. So we weren't just like in one city, but I saw it. It was, since when I joined, there was only 5,000 agents. Not everybody had heard of EXP, but it was starting to get to that point where, everybody now is, I feel like everybody now has been pitched by EXP by at least 5 people is what it seems like. And so part of the approach that we take is we don't try to pitch people EXP. We try to help identify what their goals are, and then we have a system for getting them to take a look at what it would be like to partner with some of the top real estate agents in the country. And if they watch that video, they get a little different spin on, they're not getting pitched EXP. They're getting the opportunity to partner with some of the top, people in the industry that'll be financially aligned to help them accomplish their goals, which that's obviously pretty exciting. Obviously, you have a lot of respect for Tina. We wouldn't be sitting here today. But, our track record, and this is, just for food for thought, right? When you're looking for a mentor, and I've had a lot of mentors, I've paid a lot of people a ton of money. And the thing that's most important is people that have a track record of success and also have a track record of success of helping other people accomplish their goals. And so over the last really 15 years, we've helped more real estate agents accomplish their goals, whether it's sell more houses, get more time off, whatever the case may be. That's our business. That's what we do. And so, when you're partnering with Tina, you're partnering with me, you're partnering with our entire group of agents that are going to be helping you with whatever problem it is that you have. And we're all financially aligned to help you be more successful. That's what we wake up every day thinking of, how do we help you be more successful? And so that's a pretty rare thing, right? Like, I don't know who in your current office wakes up every day thinking about helping you be more successful. But in this scenario, that's what you're getting. You're getting this as a business partner where you can reach out to me anytime. Obviously, you can reach out to Tina anytime. But that's what do you think that would be worth to you over the next 10 or 15 years to have business partners that have helped people at every level be more successful?
It's hard to imagine it. And I feel like I'd have to see it almost to believe it. My experience is that
Right.
people don't by nature want to help you. They see each other as competition for the most
Right.
part. And so everyone kind of stays to themselves, with a little bit of cross pollination with trainings. But we don't really go to a lot of the trainings anymore because we feel like they're more geared towards newer agents. So there's just not a lot of, there's just not a lot of collaboration there. So it's hard for me to answer that question. It
Right.
sounds intriguing, but it's hard to believe it.
Have you seen the training calendar for EXP?
I have not.
I'll show it to you. Hang on a second.
Okay.
I don't know if I can share screen or not.
You should be able to.
Yeah, I can. It looks like. So is training important to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like you were talking about with coaches and things too. I've paid over the years a lot of money for coaches and trainings on my own, and so I think you can always get better no matter
Right.
who you are. So yeah, it certainly is. But I also don't want just basic, real estate 101 training.
Right. For sure. And that's something it's actually baffles me that brokerages haven't figured out how to help agents be successful. And I understand why they don't, because the financial model of all brokerages is to recruit agents. It's not to make them successful. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that Coal Banker, all of them I've seen. I was at Coal Banker. That's why I mentioned that. They had practically nothing. And the thing that's going to help you be successful is people who've been successful. 95% of all real estate is sold by 5% of the agents, and the agents that are out there doing it and doing it successfully are the ones that can actually show you what they're doing to be successful. And so one of the things that makes this company unique is, if it, just for the instance, you would be icon status, right? Which means you would get that 16,000 back in stock. Now, I would also choose, if I were you, to purchase the stock at the 5% of every commission at a 10% discount. So you buy the stock at a discount, but again, it's just an easy way for you to be invested in your future, right? It's a little bit harder for us to write the check to save money in real estate. We tend to put it back into our businesses and things like that and save for taxes. But if you take 5% over the next, I had a friend of mine that was at Remax, and he had paid, he did around 100 transactions, but he paid Remax 75 grand for his team and all of his agents and everything. He paid 75 grand to Remax. And with the 5% and him being an icon, he ended up getting $75,000 worth of stock in EXP. And that's $150,000 difference, right? I mean, that's a huge difference. What's that look like in 15 years? I think he's going to be really happy he made the move to EXP. That's just one piece of the puzzle. Like, this is and the cool thing is all these trainings. Some days there's, this is, what is this today? Jeez. So that's Monday, next Monday.
Okay.
All of these different trainings are going on in the cloud. This is every single day there's trainings. And the cool thing about the trainings is this is oftentimes, it's not just, it's not somebody just, corporate teaching a class. This is top agents from around the country sharing what they're doing right now. And the reason that we would do that is because we get stock in the company and ownership. We want to help everybody. And so
I was going to ask you, are you ever fearful that you're training your competition out there? I mean, is there a time where, why are you sharing? I know you would make a little bit of money off of me from rev share, but
yeah,
it seems like you're sharing a lot too.
It's a great question. And it's, I remember I went to Warren Buffett shareholders event a couple years ago, and an interesting thing happened. I'd never been before. And Warren and Charlie were sitting down there eating C's chocolate and sipping Coca-Cola. And they had somebody that, they let anybody in the auditorium. It's huge, this huge event. And they let anybody in the auditorium ask a question. This guy asked a question. He said, well, since Wells Fargo's had this, debacle that they went through a few years ago, where they were creating fake accounts so that they could win, so that there was the opportunity for the tellers or whoever it was that, or whatever the bankers were that set up your accounts or whatever, or the more accounts that they get set up, they get, they entered in a drawing to win some kind of incentive. I don't know what the incentive was, but this guy was like, well, now you gotta, you're going to change who you're investing in. You're putting all your money in all the, the banks that they're invested in and stuff like that. And it was funny watching how quickly he answered the question. He said, we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. He's like, Wells Fargo's been around over 100 years. He's like, we have a company. We have one of our companies we're investing in is going to do something stupid tomorrow. I'm going to get a phone call. It's guaranteed to happen. He said, the first thing I look to is what was the misalignment in compensation? And I was shocked. I mean, I've heard, Charlie and Warren's, rules and all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the top ones is compensation alignment and how that gets mismanaged most of the time in most companies. But when something magical happens, when you have all the compensation aligned, and his point he was making was like, I'm just going to go look at where was the misalignment in compensation that drove the bad behavior, and then I'm going to fix it, right? And that was what he said. He said, Wells Fargo's not a bad company. He's like, they just, they made a mistake, but that was where he goes to first. That was his first thought, was to go to alignment and compensation. And so that's the thing that's been the most amazing to me, how much different the culture is at EXP. How willing, I mean, I saw a post in our group, our Honey Badger group, a couple days ago, and I know this guy. Nobody in the group knows this guy. And Tina replied to it. Chuck Fazio replied to it. There was 4 or 5 people that and he knew who they were because they all offered to get on a phone call and help him solve his problem. And he was like, I couldn't believe that those people, and he didn't know who everybody was. And so he was just blown away that there was more than 5 comments, but 5 of them that got on a call with him were top people in the company. And so why would they do that? First of all, I think it's because this company attracts people that look for opportunity, right? So, and generally people that look for opportunity are also abundance mindset. Right. And so to believe that there's an opportunity at EXP, you have to be a little bit of an optimist and believe that, that this is an opportunity, real opportunity. And most of the same people that look for opportunity are abundant. And so they're just givers. That's the kind of people that we're attracting to the company, people that want to help other people. But, that's the kind of thing that I see all the time. But to explain to you why would I invest my time on this call with you, or on a call with anybody you'd like to get me on, it's a really small thing that, you pay a little bit, you don't pay anything. It comes out, EXP pays out of your portion of what you pay into the cap, and they give that back in revenue share. And that's how we get compensated, is a little bit off of the agents that we bring into the company. And so I don't know who, I mean, any agent could jump in my calendar tomorrow. I wouldn't know if they're in my organization, or not. But so I don't worry about that. I just worry about adding value. And if I continue to add value, I'm going to continue to help other people become more successful at EXP. I got stock. I'm going to win. Everybody wins together. If I help you be more successful, and you bring a friend over to EXP, I'm going to win. You're going to win. We all win together. And so that kind of a business model has never been seen in real estate before. There's never been a way for you to partner with top industry, and the little bit that's getting paid to us, it makes a big difference, because of the compounding of that. So just for instance, I said I wasn't a very good recruiter. I wasn't joking. I have 38 people that I've brought into the company in 2.5 years, what that average is, but it's not very good. But that 38 people brought 3,247, right?
Now that looks like a good number. Yeah.
Yeah, that's leverage, right? And so, and from that, last month was, $142,719 off of the transactions that those agents closed.
I'm sorry, did you say last month?
That was last month. That's right. Yep. While COVID-19 was in full force, I can tell you this. I went through 2007. Were you in real estate in 07, 08?
I came in 2012, actually.
In 2012, you lucky dog. So 2007, 2008, and I'm not joking when I say this. I was so bad that I canceled my Netflix. Back then, it was only $7.99, and so it's got to be pretty bad when you get down to $7.99, and you're like, okay, I can't afford to keep that.
Right.
So real estate comes in cycles. All I can tell you is the best thing I could have ever asked for was the ability to earn passive income here at EXP. There's no question about that. Whether I sold the house or not, whether I get out of bed or not, that's an opportunity. So if is that something that would interest you, is having some passive income?
Definitely. I mean, it would. I mean, because I'll tell you kind of my other fear in all of this is that where I'm at is very comfortable to me. It works. I don't have to overthink it. I don't have to create anything. Everything is just there. And so for me to make a move, I'd have to feel like there's something really worth it there for me to go through that. So
how much passive income a month would you need to make in order, a year from now, let's say a year from now, in order for you to say, this was the best decision I ever made?
I mean, I guess if I think about my mortgage and my car payment and all that, I mean, if I could do, I don't know, $5,000 a month, it would feel like that pain was probably worth it.
Right.
Cool. So it's just there's just some comfort in knowing what
right.
It may not be ideal, but it's at least the comfort that I do know.
Let me ask you this. If we could help you, if we could lay out a plan to help you go from 75 transactions, and we could help you with laying out a plan to get to $5,000 a month in revenue share, and we could show you that we could do that, would you be more comfortable moving?
I would certainly be interested. I guess the other part of it is the time on recruiting. So if I'm trying to get more time back in my day, it sounds like if I'm going to then create that passive income, is that going to become my new full-time job?
Yeah. So no, I think that's the best part is we built a system for agent attraction where you don't have to pitch. The way I explain it is how to recruit 1,000 agents to EXP without ever giving a presentation, without ever talking to someone that doesn't want to talk to you first, and without ever having to answer their questions. And so what that means is when somebody inquires about EXP, which is going to happen a lot because you're a top producer, you're going to send them a video. They're going to watch that video. The people that watch it, you're going to follow up with and see what questions they have. And you're going to put them on a call with me or Tina, and we're going to do all the rest. Right. So, from a time standpoint, I think, it's all depends on your goals. I approach things probably a little bit differently than a lot of people just because I've been coaching for so long. I always look at, here's where we're at, here's where we're trying to go. What's the best, what are all the ways to get to the financial goal? Mm-hmm. And so my mentor, Jay Abraham, he was really good at this, and he always pushed back on my thinking, and he'd drive me crazy because he would never give me the answer. He would just make me think. And so he'd ask me, what's the goal? And then he'd say, well, is that really the goal? And I'm like, is that really the goal? I think that's the goal. and they said, and we would oftentimes like he pushed back. One time he pushed back on me on, actually I was doing it to my team, and I was using what he did to me to them. And they said we had lost 2 agents actually in on the team that had, one had moved on and one went to another brokerage. And they had set a meeting, and I was not really a part of these meetings most of the time, but they wanted my help, and it was to recruit agents to replace them. And so I said, is that the goal? And they said, well, yeah, that's the goal. We think that's the goal. I said, well, I said, maybe there's a different goal. He said, well, the goal is to replace the revenue that these agents were bringing into the company. Ultimately, that was the real goal. It wasn't just to recruit 2 more agents or whatever to replace them. It was to replace the revenue. And then he asked the question, well, now you can ask the question, well, what are all the ways to accomplish that goal? Right. And so we came up with, which was amazing. I didn't know it was going to work. Right. I was just messing with them. And we actually changed the strategy to, we had 75 lists active currently at that time. And so to replace that revenue, the easiest thing to do would have been to get listings sold. And so we shifted our focus from recruiting agents, which would have probably not made us any money for at least 6 or 8 months, to that quarter, we shifted to focusing on getting our listings sold. And so, that question of, what's the goal? And is that really the goal, is where I would start with you. And then, having all the different VXP that we have to help you accomplish the goal, we would lay out a plan that you would feel comfortable with based upon all the ways to accomplish the goal. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Absolutely.
Right. So that's kind of how I think probably the next step would be, is that we get clear on where you're at, where you want to go. We look at what are all the ways that we can do that and how we can help you with that. And then we take the next step. And if you're comfortable then, and everything feels good, I think you would be pretty excited to be partners with us and come join us over here at EXP.
Well, it sounds like a great plan. And it certainly sounds interesting, to come up with an actual plan as well. So do you provide content every week? Like, how can I tap into you?
Yeah, so we do a lot. So there's probably a video that explains it better than anything. But we do events. We have masterminds. Those masterminds used to be 25 grand. Used to be a part of. Average person in the room is doing $1 million plus GCI. And what I've always learned with the masterminds, and the reason we do them is when you get into the room with a bunch of agents that are, some of them at your level, some of them above your level, and even some of them maybe below your level. You get sucked up to the top, right? It just kind of pulls you forward and really kind of challenges you just to, where you have to get a better version of yourself in order to accomplish your goals. And you learn some things that, that you can't really, you're not going to find walking around the halls of your office. Right. I'll tell you that. Right. And so those masterminds, we do those at least 2 or 3 of those a year. Those are high level masterminds. We have boot camps that we do, which depending upon your goals, we would look at what would make the most sense for you to plug into. We do trainings every single week with expert mentors, which is, I think there's over 100 episodes, and these are some of the top agents on the planet. I know we had one that was shocking to me. One of our clients in Minnesota, I think she did like 300 transactions, and it was 295 of them were by referral. Now, wow. I have no idea how in the world, when I heard that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But she had systems, right? Like, I mean, I'd rather, that sounds like a pretty good business model. And so, and it was, and so she broke down everything that she does and how she's able to get so many referrals. And I was like, some of this stuff is so simple. I just never knew, I would have never known. And so those are the types of things that, from a content perspective, you're going to have access to a ton, not to mention all the trainings that EXP is doing. All of those are live, interactive. So you get to interact, ask questions, but they're also recorded. So, just the last month's worth of training, there probably isn't a topic you could make up that you couldn't go actually consume a live training from. So a lot of training going on all the time. Agent attraction training, we have the whole entire training for that, and we train anybody that you bring on the same way, so that they can go out and recruit and bring their friends over. And that's really what this is all about. Is about people. We don't talk to anybody that we don't like, right? We don't want to work with anybody that's not the people that are like us, that want to be more successful and have more success. So, but we're going to help whoever you bring on do the same thing. And so we're your business partners, and your opportunity is our opportunity. So yeah, you're going to have a ton of content from that perspective. I think probably more so than you could probably imagine.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. So you've certainly given me a lot to think about.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and set up a call, if you don't mind. I think it feels to me like the next step would be to have a call where we lay out that plan. Would that be fair?
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
certainly interested in pursuing that.
All right, cool. Let's do that then. That's how this is a mistake I used to make. Okay, we're off.
Yeah.
We're off role-play. We're off
Right.
Nice
So
job,
appreciate it. One thing one of the biggest mistakes that I in having these calls like this was at the end of the call, when you don't like, it goes into never land, right? Like you don't know what the next step is going to be. And so I always try to find that next step and schedule the next encounter, right? Whether it's going to be with me or it sounds to me like you need to get on a call with Brent, go, or but I'm never going to get off the call without if I don't hear what's the next step, which is what I hear whenever it's successful, I hear, well, what's the next step? Right. That means you're coming over to EXP. Right. And if I don't hear that, then I'm setting up whatever the next encounter was. And you heard, the first question that I asked, it's funny because I looked at my calendar at the end of the first year I was at EXP, my first full year, and it was 999 three-way calls that I had done. Wow. And I was like, wow, look at how many I did. And then I did the math and it was like, man, that's like 3 calls a day. You didn't really do anything this year. Like the whole year I thought I was working hard. And so, but what I learned about half of that time, I would get on the call and say, well, what did you like about what you saw? And so the problem with that was people would or I didn't say, what would you like? I said, well, what did you think? Right? What do you think about it? And they would say, good, bad, ugly, you get everything. But changing it to what did you like about what you saw gets them to kind of think about, well, what was the most interesting to me? And I want to know what that is, because I'm going to use that as leverage in the conversation. And I'm going to probably key in on that a little bit more than some other things. The other thing is, no, that was it. I think that was at the very beginning of the call, asking that question. Then at the end, if I feel like I'm not going to get that, what's the next steps? If that doesn't happen, then I kind of shift to a question. It was like, how much, and you didn't really key in on revenue share, but I felt like it was not a bad idea to go that direction. So how much revenue share would you need to be making a month?
Jay,
in order
your numbers, it's never a bad idea, I don't think.
Right. Most everybody gets excited about revenue. Not everybody, but a lot. Nobody's going to say, nope, I don't want any passive income. That's not going to happen. So you can almost get, they may not believe it themselves, but if you can show someone that there's a system for doing it and that we're going to help you do it, then they can you can get them excited about it. And that's what I was looking for. I want to mention one more thing, and then Tina, you guys can ask whatever questions or whatever you want to do. I talk about the opportunity a lot, and I talk about the opportunity with everybody, because I'm looking for people that are looking for opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of what I'm hearing and other people, talking about, we're a real estate company, we sell real estate. That's true. Absolutely. And I know for a fact, there's nobody better you can partner with than us. If that's what you want to do, like, that's hands down. We got the best training, the best team, the best people in this group. We can help anybody sell more real estate. There's no problem we can't solve there. But I'm looking for is that person that is willing to spend a little bit more time on the opportunity, because those are the people that are going to help grow your group. And if I happen to fit people because I'm talking more about the revenue share opportunity side of it than I am the real estate, I'm okay with that, because that message I'm putting out there is I'm looking for people that are like me and saw opportunity and hey, I'm looking, I'm not trying to sell, 200 homes a year. I want to get that, show me that 142,000 a month. Now tell me what you had to do to do that. Like those people are, and it's fun. You look at my group and who's, it's 3,200 people. You would think I probably have 2 or 3 people in my front line that have more than 10 people. That's it. And then, the other people that are growers, like you don't even know who they're going to be. You just don't know. But if nobody's talking about the opportunity, you won't ever find those people that get it and go, holy cow, this is the biggest opportunity I've ever seen. I'm excited about it. And that's where I'm going to focus on, and they key in on it. So that's just my perspective. We're all going to sell real estate and we're all going to get some stock and all that kind of stuff. And that's all good and great. But I do talk about the opportunity because I'm looking for people that are opportunity minded and want in on the opportunity. So anyways.
Yeah. I mean,
anywho.
And it's funny, I wrote down a bunch of notes because I think what stands out to me is, you said, what did you like about what you saw? And he started with a positive. Now, what did you think? Well, I don't really like this. Like, it brings them right to the positive. And, and then he went right for, how would you like to gain more leverage? Like, he's looking for her pain points. And then he asked again, well, what stood out when you looked at it? And then you said, all the little stories. It's like, I don't know, how disruptive this is, but EXP, my kids refer to Netflix as, TV. And so your goals in 10 to 15 years, when you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for a track record of success. It's all those little like nuggets as you're having a conversation. He's not really selling her, but the thing I love the most when you said, I don't know about you, I don't know who in your office wakes up thinking about your success every day. Do you think that would change your trajectory? And it's like, those are the little things that you're creating doubt, just like we do with buyers and sellers to get them to work with us. He's creating doubt in her mind that, she better think about this because no one else is thinking about her success. The financial model it's to make agents successful. It's not to recruit. It's just really that financial alignment. And then at the end, the best thing that I love is, that I learned from you guys is how much passive income would you need to make, to make it the best decision that you've ever made. And it's such a small amount. I mean, she said 5,000. We have people on our team making 3,000 and 4,000 already after 7 months. So yeah, I mean, it's just, and then of course, when you show them the rev share, so I show people mine, it's like 12, 15,000. They get so excited. Imagine if they see 175. That got me excited. So I'm like, I need to make more calls. But I want the opportunity because I want time freedom. So after 20 years, I'm looking for what Jay's looking for, time freedom. Yep. I don't want to exchange my time to go to a seller's house and have a dog pee on my leg anymore. But that's me, But you guys might want that, and that's okay, and we'll get you there. But let me open it up real quick for questions, Jay.
Sure.
Awesome.
You got it.
All right. So Renee said, if you want to attract versus chase, where's the best place to start? And secondary to that, there are some agents that I think would really benefit from this. How do you approach them? I find that most people are comfortable where they are. Do you approach them without seeming, or how do you approach them without seeming creepy?
Yeah, so there is a script, a different script for different levels, right? If you're talking to someone that's doing more production than you, how you might approach them would be different than somebody that you're doing more production than, right? You have influence over those people, or somebody that's at your level. I think, there's a script that's in the Honey Badger group. If you look in the files, and I think it's the 8-step invitation script. It came from Eric Worre's book. And so I kind of crafted it around, the conversation, around from that book and the principles, and just crafted it around agent attraction. And so that would be helpful. That's one place to go. And then agentattractiontraining.com. Mike actually kind of leveled it up another notch, and based on, he color coded it. And basically, if you're talking to someone that's doing more production than you, how would you approach them? And essentially, just to give you the nugget you're looking for is you pay them a compliment, a sincere compliment. Say, listen, I've seen your business years grow, and been super impressed with how you do business and how successful you've been. And I'm curious, what's your goals? What do your goals look like for the next 5 years? Just asking them a question. Let them, people start talking about themselves. Anybody who's successful is going to talk. They'll start talking. They may never stop talking if you ask that question. So, but they're going to, they start to tell you your goals. Say, there's something that, an opportunity I'm looking at that sounds like, man, I don't know if it's right for me, but it sounds like it'd be great for you. If I was to send you a video, would you be willing to take a look at it? And give me your feedback. Just give me your opinion. I'd love to have your feedback, your opinion. And they were probably going to say yes, because you paid them a compliment and they just talked for 5 minutes, and say, well, when do you think, if I send it over to you, when do you think you could watch it by? And this is called the triple commit. So the first commitment was, they said they'd watch the video. The second commitment is when they give you a time. So don't tell them, hey, if you think you can watch it by tomorrow, because then you're kind of forcing it into their timeline. But if they have to think about all the things that they're doing, go, oh yeah, I could probably watch it over the weekend. Say, okay, so if I called you on Monday, on Monday morning, you would have for sure watched it by then. that's the third commitment when they say yes to that. And so that increases the amount of people, the number of people that actually watch a video. It almost doubled it for me when I started using that strategy. It was amazing how many people don't watch it, but that really made a difference because they committed 3 times. And I think that I use a lot. I use it in my real estate business a lot. Was the promise. Say, hey, so you promise me. I can't wait to get your feedback. Promise me you'll watch it. It's a moral obligation, right? People don't like to break promises. So even if you do it with enthusiasm and you make them promise, they're probably even that much more likely to watch it. And so, and then you just follow up with them. And so, if you're using expert mentors, which is the tool we have that, I think there's other tools that do it too, but it tracks whether they watch it or not. You can see, okay, you watched 47 minutes of the video, you basically watched the whole thing or whatever, right? Or if they didn't, right? And so when you follow up with them, you can say, hey, if they didn't watch, say, hey, I know you probably didn't get a chance to watch the entire video. Just wanted to, follow back up with you and see if I was really looking forward to, getting your opinion and getting your feedback on this. When do you think you finish watching it by? And just stay on them that way, right? So it's not threatening, but that's how that approach is for somebody who's doing more in production than you are, right? And so those scripts have all the details and probably some things I'm not mentioning, so I don't have it perfectly memorized probably, but so look to those scripts for that. But that would be the way that you want to approach that person.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is the belief in your mind. Like I tell Renee this all the time. Agents love her, love Renee, and she may not think she's big cookies, but she is. And so I just think that it's a mindset shift. Like they want to be Renee, they want to do the production she does. She's a kick-ass agent. So I think you got to have that belief and use that leverage
for sure. Yeah, it's definitely mindset. Anything approach everything with enthusiasm and it's incredible. I remember I used to call every person, when I would lose a listing, I would call every single listing and ask them why they didn't list with me. But I also, the first time I beat Pam Marion, who was my arch, the first time I beat her on a listing, I called the seller and asked them why they listed with me. I just got to understand what you were thinking. Because at that time I was nothing. I was nowhere close to Pam. She was doing 100 something deals. I was probably doing 20 something deals, 30 deals or whatever. And they said, you know what, you were just really enthusiastic and it just seemed like you could help us sell the house. And, I was like, oh, enthusiasm, got it. Right. So, be excited. It's contagious. Right. And so, that's the approach you got to take with people. And if you do, it makes a huge difference, people getting on board with you,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for today. I think it was very helpful. Just to see it. I think sometimes we say it, but they want to see it. So at the end of this, you guys should just know that leverage us, leverage Jay.
Yep.
Don't call him too much, but no, he's got.
Yeah, you can use anytime. My calendar. Yeah, go to jkinder.me. Jkinder.me. There's a calendar link. You can schedule calls with me for anything you want to talk about. Yeah, if there's always time available. So I'm happy to help you guys any way I can.
Awesome. We recorded this. This may be helpful. Maybe we'll even throw it in the Honey Badger group. I don't know if you think it'll be helpful. But I think
so. Yeah.
People need.
We haven't ever done this before, so this is definitely, I think, valuable to share.
Huge. It's huge. So thank you. You're awesome. Yep. And
appreciate you.
There's going to be a Honey Badger party in Vegas this year. That's all that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Yes. Of course there is. Of course there is. No question.
I'm very excited about that. All right, guys. Thank you. Go kick some ass.
See you, Kevin.
And, be well.
Yep.
Bye, y'all.